After months of trying with the 296, we still can't get it started.
After months of fighting problem after problem with his wrecked Ferrari 296, Matt finally reached a moment that changed everything because Ferrari itself agreed to help rebuild the damaged car. And after endless failed repairs, expensive replacement parts, hybrid battery theories, electrical faults, workshop frustration, and months of confusion, real hope finally appeared. The Ferrari 296 originally crashed badly in Cyprus, and from the first day Matt collected it, something felt wrong because the car showed almost no life at all. Basic systems refused to work. The touchscreen remained dead. Important controls showed no response. The ignition refused to activate. Power seemed missing across multiple systems. Early theories pointed toward crash safety protection because modern supercars automatically disable important functions after major accidents. Ferrari technicians originally explained that before serious diagnosis could happen, everything needed reconnecting properly. Airbags needed installation. Crash systems needed restoring. Electronic modules needed communication. Modern hybrid Ferraris work differently from older performance cars because almost every component depends on another component working correctly. One missing signal can stop an entire vehicle from operating normally. Matt took the damaged Ferrari back to Britain and began rebuilding it piece by piece. Excitement remained high at first because physical repairs moved forward steadily. Damaged components disappeared. New parts arrived. Wiring returned. Systems slowly came back together. Yet the biggest problem never changed. The Ferrari still refused to start. Every repair created hope. Every failed startup destroyed confidence again. Days turned into weeks. Weeks turned into months. The project slowly became one of the hardest challenges Matt had ever faced, because this was not simply repairing body damage anymore. This became a battle against modern Ferrari engineering itself. The team checked countless possibilities. Maybe crash protection remained active. Maybe hybrid systems lost communication. Maybe modules stopped talking properly. Maybe battery problems blocked startup functions. Theories kept growing while answers refused to appear. Eventually, frustration reached another level when Matt decided to contact Ferrari directly asking for support because normal repair methods simply were not working anymore. Ferrari responded, but strict company rules created another obstacle. Because the Ferrari had not gone through approved repair processes initially, official dealership support became difficult. Ferrari required the car completed properly before deeper work could happen. Matt continued pushing forward anyway, because giving up after months of effort simply was not happening. One major theory focused on the hybrid battery because the Ferrari 296 depends heavily on hybrid systems during startup procedures. The battery became suspect number one. If the battery failed, startup could fail completely. Eventually, Matt ordered an entirely new hybrid battery, costing massive money because after months of confusion, replacing expensive parts felt like the only remaining option. Installing the battery created huge expectations. Everyone hoped this would finally solve everything. It changed nothing. The Ferrari still refused to come alive. Warning messages remained. Startup remained impossible. Frustration increased further because expensive solutions continued failing. Another theory appeared involving battery cooling, because hybrid systems rely heavily on thermal management. The Ferrari Challenge conversion created additional complexity because Matt modified cooling systems heavily while adapting race car parts onto a road car platform. Air conditioning systems needed custom fabrication. Cooling lines required modification. New components needed welding and reshaping. Bob stepped forward, helping create custom air conditioning pipes despite never attempting exactly this kind of fabrication before. Old lines became templates. Pipes got heated carefully. Sections got extended. Custom pieces slowly formed together through trial and error. Hours passed creating parts needed for the system. Finally, everything connected together. Vacuum testing started next because air conditioning systems require perfect sealing before gas enters the system. Failure appeared immediately. Leaks destroyed progress again. More frustration followed. Missing seals caused problems nobody expected initially. More repairs happened. Another test followed. Finally, vacuum held correctly. Air conditioning gas entered successfully. Everyone wondered whether cooling issues blocked startup functions previously, because theories suggested battery cooling problems might trigger hybrid safety systems. Battery reconnecting followed carefully. Excitement returned briefly. Nothing changed. The Ferrari still refused ignition. More hope disappeared. At this stage, Matt called specialist diagnostic experts, bringing advanced equipment capable of talking deeper into Ferrari systems. Module communication began revealing faults everywhere. Electronic systems reported failures. Modules refused writing functions. Programming problems appeared. Battery communication remained suspicious. Diagnostic specialists believed the original battery needed returning, because sometimes modern performance cars behave better when systems remain closer to original factory conditions. Matt swapped batteries again despite spending enormous money already. Ferrari race specialists also advised restoring factory configuration where possible before deeper programming attempt happened. Scheduling support became difficult. Weeks disappeared waiting for opportunities. Eventually, reality became obvious. Ferrari itself needed direct involvement. Matt reached out again. Ferrari agreed to help. That changed everything because after months of dead ends, official Ferrari technicians finally stepped forward ready to investigate deeper. Strict rules still existed. Filming inside Ferrari facilities remained impossible. Updates would arrive slowly instead. The Ferrari disappeared into official Ferrari hands, while Matt waited nervously, knowing this might represent the final opportunity. If Ferrari failed, possibilities became frighteningly limited. Days passed. Technicians investigated endlessly. Even Ferrari experts struggled initially, because previous crash-damaged Ferrari 296 cars normally still allowed ignition access after repairs. Matt's Ferrari remained unusually difficult. Ferrari technicians first investigated battery charging problems deeply. One shocking discovery changed everything. The electronic handbrake needed activating before hybrid charging worked properly. During transportation from Cyprus, the handbrake got manually released, allowing movement without ignition power. Nobody realized that one simple detail blocked charging behavior entirely afterward. Months of confusion partly traced back to one tiny overlooked condition. Hybrid charging returned correctly afterward. Hope exploded again. Yet startup still failed completely. Ferrari technicians continued searching. Cooling systems received inspection. Modified radiators created airflow concerns. Hybrid cooling depended heavily on air conditioning support. Fans behaved strangely because custom modifications changed factory cooling behavior. Ferrari technicians literally used leaf blowers, helping cooling systems operate during testing. More investigation continued. Finally, attention moved toward something nobody fully expected: the steering wheel. Ferrari 296 startup controls live directly inside steering wheel systems. Matt previously tested replacement steering wheel parts already without success because crash-damaged donor parts created misleading results. Ferrari installed a brand new steering wheel setup. Everything immediately worked. The real problem finally appeared after months of confusion. Crash damage affected internal steering wheel electronics around start-stop systems. Heat damage from airbag deployment likely damaged wiring inside steering wheel controls. Matt accidentally tested another damaged component, previously making diagnosis impossible. Ferrari replaced steering wheel button systems. Ignition returned. Dashboard activated properly. Systems communicated normally. Startup happened successfully. Months of stress disappeared instantly. Thousands spent unnecessarily suddenly made sense. The Ferrari finally lived again. The hybrid V6 fired into life. Exhaust noise filled the workshop. Months of silence ended completely. Ferrari helped solve the impossible mystery. One damaged button stopped an entire supercar project for months. One tiny hidden fault defeated endless repairs. But persistence finally won. Ferrari helped bring Matt's wrecked Ferrari 296 back from silence into life once again. With Ferrari finally helping Matt solve the impossible startup mystery, the Ferrari 296 project entered a completely different phase, because now the goal was no longer simply making the car start. The goal became finishing one of the wildest Ferrari rebuilds ever attempted. Months of struggle had already passed. Thousands of pounds disappeared. Endless workshop hours vanished into failed theories and frustrating repairs. Hybrid batteries got replaced. Electrical systems got checked repeatedly. Cooling systems got modified. Diagnostic specialists came and went. Ferrari technicians investigated deeply, finally discovering that damaged steering wheel electronics blocked the entire startup process, completely changed everything. Because after months of confusion, the solution looked almost unbelievably simple. The Ferrari finally turned on. The hybrid system worked. Dashboard systems communicated properly. The V6 engine fired into life. The exhaust exploded with sound. Months of silence disappeared instantly. But even with that massive victory, the build remained unfinished because Matt never wanted a standard Ferrari 296. From the beginning, this project aimed much higher. The vision involved creating something nobody else owned, something nobody else attempted. A Ferrari 296 transformed using Ferrari Challenge race car parts while still keeping road usability. That ambition created another challenge entirely because race cars and road cars follow completely different engineering rules. Race cars prioritize speed. Road cars prioritize comfort. Combining both creates serious complications. Ferrari engineers originally designed separate cooling layouts, separate airflow management, separate component positioning. Matt's team now needed to make everything work together reliably. The cooling system quickly became the next major problem because Ferrari technicians already noticed unusual cooling behavior while charging the hybrid battery. During testing, cooling fans behaved strangely. Modified radiator layouts changed factory airflow patterns completely. Original Ferrari cooling systems relied heavily on carefully engineered airflow channels. Matt replaced factory arrangements while fitting challenge components. Two cooling sections originally working separately now operated differently. Air conditioning systems also mattered heavily because battery temperature control depended partly on cooling performance. Hybrid supercars generate huge heat loads. Heat becomes dangerous. Batteries require protection. Performance systems require stability. Ferrari technicians even use leaf blowers helping cooling during workshop testing because airflow conditions no longer match factory expectations. Matt immediately understood another engineering challenge waited ahead. Solving startup problems only unlocked the next level. Workshop discussions focused heavily on radiator positioning, fan placement, airflow direction, packaging limitations. Custom fabrication continued. Bob once again played a major role because earlier custom air conditioning lines already proved modification work could solve impossible packaging problems. Now, radiator fan mounting required fresh creativity again. Existing parts almost fit correctly. Almost became a frustrating theme throughout the project because race car conversion work constantly creates situations where parts miss alignment by tiny amounts, creating enormous complications. Original mounting positions no longer matched. Factory fan locations conflicted with modified layouts. Space limitations created another nightmare. Moving one component affected another component immediately. Custom cooling fans required testing. Plastic housings needed trimming carefully. Mounting brackets demanded adjustments. Prototype work began taking over daily workshop life. Matt repeatedly called the Ferrari a prototype because honestly that described reality perfectly. Nobody built this exact configuration before. No instruction manual existed. No official Ferrari guide explained how converting a Ferrari 296 into a challenge-inspired road car should happen. Every step required experimentation. Every modification created unknown consequences. Sometimes solutions worked immediately. Sometimes everything failed completely. Testing slowly continued. Fan housings got mounted. Bumper clearances created fresh frustration. One adjustment solved one issue while creating another issue immediately afterward. Plastic sections interfered with cooling hardware. Mounting points blocked radiator placement. Components touched areas they could not touch. More trimming happened. More testing followed. More trial and error continued. Frustration mixed constantly alongside excitement because despite setbacks, progress finally existed now. Unlike startup issues previously, these new challenges represented engineering refinement rather than mystery failures. The Ferrari already ran. That changed workshop energy completely. Confidence returned. Motivation increased dramatically. Small victories started happening again. Cooling fan prototypes slowly improved. Mounting systems looked cleaner. Components fit better. Progress finally became visible physically. Under trays created another challenge because airflow management underneath performance cars matters massively, especially at speed. Ferrari engineers spent enormous effort controlling airflow underneath vehicles because stability depends heavily on aerodynamic balance. Matt needed modified under-tray solutions because challenged car parts created gaps factory Ferrari road components never expected. Missing sections required custom fabrication. Plastic solutions temporarily filled spaces. Airflow concerns remained. Battery cooling concerns remained. Hybrid protection systems remained important. Testing eventually became the only path forward because workshop theories only help so much. Real driving reveals truth. Matt understood that perfectly. Prototype engineering means building, testing, finding failures, improving weaknesses, repeating repeatedly until success arrives. The Ferrari slowly transformed from damaged imported wreck into something much more ambitious. Workshop conversations even started exploring future possibilities because Matt joked about building more challenge-inspired Ferrari road conversions eventually. Friends laughed. Ideas developed. Business possibilities appeared briefly, yet reality stayed obvious. First, one working example needed completion before dreaming bigger. Every modification still carried risk. Cooling reliability remained unknown. Long-term durability remained unknown. Airflow efficiency remained unknown. The project moved forward carefully because hybrid Ferrari performance systems leave little room for mistakes. Overheating problems could create serious consequences. Reliability mattered now more than speed. One final major realization slowly became obvious throughout this entire stage. Building custom supercars looks exciting online. Videos show victories. Videos show dramatic moments. Reality involves thousands of tiny decisions, tiny measurements, tiny adjustments, tiny failures repeated endlessly. Matt's Ferrari project perfectly showed that reality because massive problems sometimes come from tiny faults while tiny adjustments sometimes unlock massive progress. Months earlier, one damaged steering wheel button defeated everything. Now, tiny fan placement decisions control future reliability. Precision mattered everywhere. Patience mattered even more. The Ferrari finally lived again. But creating something truly special still demanded more work ahead. The Ferrari finally running changed everything, because for the first time since bringing the crashed Ferrari 296 back from Cyprus, Matt could stop asking why the car would not start and begin asking how to make it truly work properly as a finished machine. The biggest mystery had finally been solved. Ferrari helped uncover the hidden steering wheel electronics problem. The hybrid system finally communicated correctly. The battery finally charged properly. The ignition worked. The engine fired into life. Months of frustration disappeared in seconds when the sound of the hybrid V6 finally filled the workshop. But starting the Ferrari and finishing a Ferrari were completely different challenges because this project was never about simply fixing crash damage. The goal always aimed much higher. Matt wanted something unique, something nobody else built before. A Ferrari 296 carrying challenge race car influence while still keeping road car usability. That idea sounded exciting at the beginning. Now reality started showing